Hey everyone, welcome to the Keep 'em Healthy podcast. This is your host, Jamie. We are locked in on season 4. This season is going to be full of curiosity, learning, and great conversation. If this show is helpful to you, please share these episodes and follow this podcast on your podcast apps. Thank you so much for listening. Let's get this conversation started. Welcome back to the Keep 'em Healthy podcast, guys. This is Jamie, your host. And today on my show, I have Karin and Janell, and they are going to share their passion and their understanding on AI and working with it to help in your health journey. And then Karin's going to talk about how she uses her nursing skills and creek walking to help coach you through your health journey. So Janell and Karin, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Jamie.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Happy to have you. So Janell, you are a nurse and a healthcare advocate and strategist. And then Karin, you're also a nurse and creator of the Creek Walk Coaching. But we're going to start with talking to Janell. And Janell, you had brought up such amazing topic about AI. And the thing about AI, it's a little scary because there's a lot of unknowns, right? Personally, for me, I get worried about it, but I also am on the understanding that because I don't know, I would love to learn more and educate others so that we can set ourselves up for success in the future because we are parents, friends, siblings, whatever, and everyone's using it now.
Everyone's using it. Yes, it's very popular.
Yeah, so Janell, tell me your platform and what you're trying to do and what's going on right now with AI.
Absolutely. I mean, so in my background, I've been in healthcare for about 20 years. I've been in different aspects of healthcare, different pillars of healthcare, if you will. I'm currently in AI healthcare sales and just seeing it from different perspectives as a individual user myself, but also in healthcare and what that looks like in sales. Just wanted to bring it to people's attention because I think some people do shy away from AI. There are certainly people who are, it's not for them. They're either, I've heard everything from I'm afraid of it or I just don't know enough about it. I don't need it. I don't want to use it to people using it for almost every day. And the users are going up significantly year over year. And so just wanted to bring it to people's attention and how we can use AI and innovation to help us connect with self, connect with others, and connect with the community, because there are a lot of really cool tools that are free and easily accessible to everyone that it can help you build up yourself and learn more about yourself, but also connect with people like Karin and the things that she's doing.
Okay, so my initial vibe on AI, and when you're talking about the people who are scared and worry about its implications, my initial reaction, quite frankly, is that it's a form of disconnect from others and self because we're using it as a tool instead of talking to others or asking friends for advice or asking for health advice, whatever it is you're using it for. And it's cutting people from each other versus bringing people together. So I would love for you to shed light on how you feel about that it's actually it can help you bring people together.
Absolutely. So it can do those things, Jamie. I think it's important to understand that using AI such as ChatGPT, Copilot, people can get pretty involved with the system and get lost in the system. Even the CEO of ChatGPT or OpenAI even admits to echo chambering. And that's certainly something that needs to be involved and understood by those who are creating AI and, the ethics and people looking into how it's being utilized. There's so much data being collected still. But yes, as an individual user, you have to ask yourself, what am I using this for? What are my expectations? What are my goals with it? Because you can get into the system in the sense that it's very positive by nature. If you ask AI a question or you come to it with an idea, it's going to want to pump you up. And so that feels really good. Whereas a friend might say, well, have you thought of this? And sometimes that might not be what you're looking for. But the question is, how do we use AI to connect with people? I think there are those that are using AI as a journaling or a prompting tool, which can be helpful. And some people are using it as a therapist in replace of a therapist. What really we should be using it as a co-pilot. There is the Microsoft Copilot, and that's exactly what it should be. We should still remain human in the loop AI and using humans and still reaching out to professionals when you need it. So what you can do if you're concerned about those things, you can actually prompt both ChatGPT, Copilot, whatever platform you're choosing to use, and say, I need to please make sure that you're giving me balanced feedback. And if I need help, please be honest with me. You can actually make that a prompt. And it will say, oh, yes, absolutely. And you actually can see the answer choices and the things that it's coming out with change because of that prompt. But you have to understand that as a human using the system, it only knows as much as you're kind of giving it. So you need to tell it what you want. And so when we're trying to connect with others, if that's how you're utilizing AI and the innovation that we have at our fingertips, you need to tell it that that's what you want. Because echo chambers and what's called AI hallucinations do exist. And so just keeping that balance is very important, and making sure that you are still reaching out to friends and maybe having these kind of conversations.
So I want to pause you right there. You mentioned echo chambers and hallucinations. So I'm curious, can you define those? Because for me, as someone who's not in the AI world, I don't know what that means. So what's the implications of an echo chamber or the hallucination?
Sure. So an echo chamber is something you might hear this in the kind of business world is, getting a lot of yes people in the room. A leader wants to come up with an idea and they want everybody to agree with them. Well, that is something that can happen using AI and prompting as well. You can ask AI, hey, I want to come up with, here's a business idea that I have. And it'll continue to just say that it's a good idea. It's a good idea. It's a good idea. And keep rolling with this idea. But the moment you're like, wait, I'm not sure if this is all accurate. Hey, can you give me balanced feedback or a different perspective? And then all of a sudden that it starts shedding a light on like, yeah, this might not actually be financially feasible, or you won't see an income for the next 3 years. And you're like, oh, that would have been good before I started this, getting in this echo chamber. So yeah, AI does have a way of being extremely encouraging and positive, unless you tell it to be balanced or come from different perspectives or give a balanced feedback. You have to prompt it to do that. So that's the echo chamber. So it essentially just echoing your own voice. And we can even see this, maybe even like political polarization, where people are getting into algorithms that are extremely positive and encouraging their thought processes over and over and over until they're so far one way or the other. And so, just again, keeping the balance is super important, but you have to prompt it to do so. As far as hallucinations, AI has a way of using the data in the large language model. So it's just data, 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 data. Now, the larger the model, so the model, if it has a lot of information, like billions and billions of data points, hallucinations happen less often, but they still occur. So hallucinations are essentially, it gathers all this data and it can output something that sounds extremely real. It sounds very enticing, but it's actually not real. So an example is a lawyer looking for a particular case to back up their narrative or what they're trying to do for their client. And they go ahead and use AI to say, I'm looking for a case that XYZ, and it'll give you cases, but those cases don't actually exist. And this is happening right now in 2025. Lawyers are finding themselves quoting law cases that didn't actually happen.
That's really scary. There's a lot of maybe trust that should not be given to AI in certain ways when you're talking about being put into situations where they're going to constantly say yes to you. It blows my mind to think about. It's actually too much for me to think about.
It can be, and I think that's a very valid sentence that you just had, because when people know that, maybe they are a little bit more cautious with using the tool. Right. And if they choose not to use it, that is their prerogative. AI is here. It's not going away. I think my point in coming on a wellness podcast to discuss AI is how can we use it to be well? How can we use it to, improve our diet, improve our sleep habits? How can I use it to find a nonprofit within 25 miles of my home that's looking for volunteers? Because you can get lost in AI. And I think because it does feel very real, it is smart in a way. It has access to a lot of data, but it's still so new. AI is in its infancy, and humans really don't fully understand exactly how powerful it is. And so being cautious, I believe we should be cautious. But how can we use what we have right now to help us? Just yesterday, I made a week-long meal plan for my family, excluding any dietary restrictions, likes, dislikes, protein requirements for the day. And it gave it to me within seconds. And then I asked it to make me a grocery list, which I brought to Giant. So I used it, and that's helping me be healthy. So I think to answer your question, you're right. It is scary. And I
Mm.
do recommend starting with a prompt and asking it over and over to make sure that it gives you balanced feedback and things that come from different perspectives. If you're wondering about your perspectives on certain things, ask it and be honest with it, because again, it's going to be extremely positive and it's going to be very encouraging. So right now, there are some really extreme cases in people getting really lost in AI and taking their lives because AI just continued to encourage that. So this is something that just recently happened in August with a young man. OpenAI, though, they are trying to make a change and give parents some control to help their kids not get lost in it. But, again, AI is still super new. Everybody's racing to use it because it is helping innovate and create efficiencies. So you'll see this in healthcare. You'll see this in automation in other industries. But from a personal utilization, I think from a wellness perspective, just ask it to help you and be honest with it. You have to be honest with yourself.
And this is why I have this podcast in general. And it's to talk about and educate the listeners who want to be healthy and want to do the best for themselves, for their families. A lot of my listeners are moms. So we are like, okay, if AI's here, our kids are going to get our hands on it eventually, yep, whether it's in school or at home, whatever the case may be. So it's time to start having conversations with them to say, hey, just so you know that ChatGPT is AI. And so therefore it's going to lean positive, and you need to know that you need to ask it to balance whatever you're asking, whether it's for homework, whether it's for advice. And so as much as I don't love it, I still think that when something exists, you have to learn to live with it, and you have to learn how to use it to benefit you, not to harm you. And so I think everyone's still navigating that, and especially in the parenting world, for sure, when it comes to all tech. But these conversations are important. This is why I have you. It's not something I want in my household, right? But it's going to wind up being here. And it's going to be it's in my recording platform. There's AI. It's everywhere. Yeah. Well, let me ask you this. So we're talking about AI, and we're talking about using for for health and wellness. So you used it for your grocery list and for your meal planning, which is amazing. Now I'm going to pull back and say what I don't love about using the resource is, where are our friends who we normally say, hey, what are you guys making this week? Hey, what did you get at the grocery store that was on sale that was good this week? I just am afraid of losing that disconnect between each other, because that's something that isn't easy. Like, you could have easily reached out to me and Karin and said, hey, like, I'm prepping for my meals this week, but now we don't need to do that because we have the AI. That worries me a little bit. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a valid point, and it's exactly what I did do, right? I didn't reach out to a friend, a colleague, a nutritionist. Now, I personally am a part of different groups on different social media platforms, workout groups, nutrition groups, and things like this. I think we have to just understand that AI is another tool. It's not, if it's your everything, I would be cautious about that. I think, using it in my car before I got out of the car in the parking lot at the grocery store, that's when I made the list. So like, I didn't have time to call a friend, but certainly just understanding, like anything, like any innovation over time, things just change, right? We used to do math by hand, and then we got a calculator. And so, the calculator didn't go away. Now it's on our phones, and you can ask ChatGPT to do the math problem for you. But just understanding, again, that balance, and like, even trusting AI, because it can still give you information that you're not loving or isn't great for all the things you're trying to do with it. So keeping in mind that it's not perfect, it's imperfect AI. It just has a lot of access to a lot of data. Right. And that's what you're asking it to do, is pull from this large model of information and give me an answer. And then from there, you have to do with it what you need to do with it. And that takes a little bit of emotional intelligence in using AI. And that's why I think, you talked about your audience being mothers. We have kids using AI. Even if you think they're not, they probably are. Whether it's academically or actually statistically, they're seeing more people using AI in situations of social anxiety to practice conversations before they have to have that conversation.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I personally have done this. I had a very, very tough meeting coming up. I was a little concerned with how I would perform, I guess, in this meeting. And so I asked Copilot like some calming methods that I could do while I was waiting right outside the office to have the meeting. And did it help me? Yes, it helped me. And I'm an extrovert. I'm not usually in a state of anxiety when it comes to having conversations, but in that moment I was, and it helped me. So I think, while yes, could I have reached out to a friend in that moment and done the same thing? Yes, but having it there though was still beneficial to me. So it's always a balance.
Absolutely. And that comes with anything, whether it's your career and taking time, like once you're a new mom, making sure you're balancing, finding time to talk to friends. I think that's anything. And I like the point that you make when it's a tool. So you have to, and people are going to make mistakes the same way you make mistakes in your career, your motherhood, your marriage, all those things. And you have to self-evaluate.
Hmm.
But that's emotional intelligence, which that also is something that we have to keep in check all the time, regardless of whether we use AI or not. I guess for what I want to have my listeners learn is, okay, so they decided that they want to incorporate AI on their health journey. So, could you give us examples of what you would recommend to help prompt the AI appropriately so that we are meeting the needs of connection and with people, with nature, and whatever else we are looking for?
Yeah, I mean, I think you have to ask yourself, like, what are your goals again? I have a little saying, it's just, when we use it wisely, AI doesn't replace relationships, it strengthens them. And so when you think about that before you prompt AI, is like, what are my goals and what I'm doing right now, and how can I use a prompt to get something that's going to help me go after the life I'm seeking. So, for instance, if you wanted to create a calendar, like, you know what, my goal for the month of October is I want to have 4 touch points with friends or family throughout the month, in which I have either a coffee chat, in person, or virtual. And you tell the chat GPT to create a calendar invite for you. You can do that with your phone too. It's not just OpenAI or ChatGPT or Copilot. You can actually use a lot of automation on your devices too to encourage these things. And so when you think about AI, I mean, it really is a mirror. If you're asking it to do something, it's going to give you that answer. And so, again, it really just comes down to, what are you trying to accomplish in your relationship with AI and the innovation that we have. So if you want it to help you journal, if you want it to help you create a meditation, there's so many apps now that are using AI and automation to help you sleep better and do all these things. And so, again, I think we can get lost in all of it because it's so new. All these startup companies are just dying to use AI and automation. And so you have to understand who you are first. And if that means going and seeing a coach like Karin, or reaching out to a friend who may be using AI a little bit more than you, that's where the connection matters, and helping you use innovation to then it's just a feedback loop, and just going back and forth and making sure those connections make sense and that they're intentional.
Right. So when you are prompting the AI and you're saying, okay, I want some face-to-face interaction, or saying I need accountability and how can I find that?
Mm-hmm.
That's when they're going to say, okay, well, here are some ways to find people to work with you on your journey. And that's where, like, Karen's new Creek Walk coaching will pop up, and like the
Mm-hmm.
nurses that are available can help you and walk you through that journey. I just think that AI is incredible for that, for connecting people, like you're saying, but you have to use that to like take that next step and actually contact someone like Karin, who's
Yep.
going to connect with you in that way and teach you how to connect with nature and whatnot. And then you can go back to AI and say, hey, all right, I find being in nature and walking with Karin and all of that important. So help me set up my schedule so that I can incorporate all of that. And so I can see that as being a beneficial tool. And so my question now, like, Janell, thank you so much for the information, because it blows my mind. I have so many more questions for you with AI, but I think we could go on forever, because you're saying it's this infancy. So I'm like, what does this even mean? Where can we even go
Yeah.
with this? But now let's just stay focused on it as a tool. And now
Yeah.
this AI tool has connected us to Karen's Creek Walk coaching. And Karin, this is a new venture for you, and you're a nurse. And so I would love to hear kind of your story of why you have chosen to take the time and like energy towards this Creek Walk coaching.
Sure. Yeah. Thanks, Jamie. And thanks, Janelle. This awesome conversation. Yeah, I guess I've been a nurse for 13 or so years, and I've dabbled in all different parts of our healthcare system, from inpatient to home health to rehab, kind of searching for what I thought nursing was. I went into nursing kind of doe eyed, I guess, and not really realizing our medical field. So It's been a challenge for me. I love the challenge. I love being a nurse, but I also have never really felt connected to our healthcare system the way it seems to be run. So I got inspired to create my own thing that seems like what I want to be doing as a nurse. So Creek Walk Coaching is basically inspired from my childhood, I guess, like just being out in nature and being in the woods and being with water, and just kind of how our health and our wellness and our well-being comes from connections to our community and to the earth and our environment and ourselves and the people around us. So it really came from an inspiration of what I think healthcare could be, like health promotion and preventative care and understanding things a little bit deeper than, this is your diagnosis and here's your medication, and then you just go and you do that. So trying to kind of bring a little bit more autonomy to the client, and then also just what I feel helps people be balanced and healthier.
Right. And quite frankly, if we don't have you, Karin, having opportunities and creating these environments for others, it wouldn't exist. And so what are the offerings that you have, Karin?
Yeah, sure. So for Creek Walk Coaching, what's happening right now is once a month we do like on the full moon, so whatever day that falls on, we do a hike. It takes about 3 hours. Anyone is welcome. It's just show up. There's no sign in or anything like that. Just show up at High Rocks Vista Point and we hike out. We end up at a creek location. We have a little bit of like meditation space just to kind of become self-aware with ourselves, and then an opportunity to kind of let go of something, like something that you don't feel is helpful to you, whether it's a habit or thought processes or whatever it could be, just an opportunity to kind of let that go. And then with the hike back being an intention to set some new goals or something that you want to bring into your life, something that you want to cultivate and work towards. And so there's kind of like these rituals that sort of go in line with that, just to kind of help set that up for people. And then, let's check back a month later and see where you landed. Because I think just a lot of times sharing your intentions and having somebody check in on you for that is just so powerful in creating these changes that we want for ourselves, that like, it's hard to do. It's really hard to make changes when we're in our moments and our days. They're so busy, and we get lost in our routine, and it's hard to make those shifts. So I want to be that for people.
Absolutely. I think you're right when we say that our schedules are so locked in and coming, like the logistics of going from one place to the next. And so prioritizing, taking time to go out into nature and to make those ask those questions and make the plan for what am I trying to accomplish and how am I going to accomplish it. It's really hard for people. So I really appreciate how we can use AI to set this up for us and make us committed to this new calendar, right? That is going to remind us that, hey, Karin's full moon is such and such day. This is a priority. This is one of your commitments you made, that you're going to be out in those 4 times or whatever your commitment was, and show up and start that process, because we know that once you start and you commit to something and you have accountability, that is the driving force. It keeps you going because you start to realize, oh, wow, I felt amazing being out in nature and grounding and meditating in that way. And I forgot that that's what I loved to do as a kid. When I was feeling overwhelmed, I would just go and swing on the swing, and that made me feel better. It's reconnecting to those type of things that it takes time, energy, and space. And so, Karin, I love that you are providing that for people and allowing them to come back to themselves while everything else is telling us to be distracted and it's go out of ourselves, right? So I appreciate that, Karin, so much. And so, Janell, did you say you join Karin's meetings or you help run it?
Yeah, no, I am a customer of Karin, and she and I met as parents of our kids playing soccer together, and we bonded over being healthcare providers. And she introduced me to what she's doing as a coach, and we've met up as both, I would say, friends, as colleagues, and then as wellness practitioners as well. I have certainly had an opportunity to be with Karin and those who joined her on one of her walks, and my kids joined as well. And so just, disconnecting and holding true to that commitment, like you mentioned, Jamie, and just really allowing myself to, leave your digital things home or in the car and going out and being with nature, being with people. There were a lot of people on that walk I'd never met before. And so just getting to know some new faces in the community. And being in the creek was really nice. I remember just sitting on a rock, kind of moseyed my way into the middle of the creek and just sat on the rock and had that nice deep breath in the wilderness. And so, I appreciate Karin for being somebody in my life who pulled me out of, doing the typical things. And so I appreciate her as a friend and what she is doing for the community, because I really got to meet some really beautiful people, and look forward to doing it again soon.
I think as we wrap up this episode, number one, Karin and Janell, this has been awesome. But I think we see the yin to the yang of using both things to work. And so you can go all in on the AI, but then you're going to miss out on the real life stuff. And so if you can incorporate and keep in mind that the connection with people and nature, you can still have fun and use the tools when you need them for AI to help in our day-to-day. But it's a journey. So keep that in mind, right? It's a journey across the board, and trust yourself when you feel like something's off and know how to make a plan accordingly. And I think that's one of the things that we're trying to promote today is that, like, have that emotional intelligence, use the tools that you have, and seek out the people that are going to help you be accountable to the journey that you want, And so I just want to thank you both, Janell and Karin, today. This was such a eye-opening conversation, and also just a great reminder to use the tools that we have. And don't forget about the people like Karin who are creating spaces to help you reconnect with others and nature and yourself. And then also people like Janell, who's reminding you that you can use AI to help prompt that, but we just have to know how. So thank you guys so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Jamie.
Thank you, Jamie.
All right, listeners, as I always say, you do you, stay well, and keep them healthy. Thank you guys for listening.